Hi everybody, Dhaman Mehta here, and thank you for once again joining me on my journey as I go through my favorites list on fanfiction.net. And hooray! I missed out on the fact that my last video was episode 100 of this thing, so this is 101! Yeah, 101! Oh my god, I can't believe I'm going through this. I mean, I should have expected. I was like, oh, it's gonna be 7, so it's like, I'm almost gonna hit 200-ish. Not quite, but I've probably hit like 180 or something. We'll see. But yeah, thanks for if you're stuck around or like visited often. Thank you for sticking around for over 2 years. And if you're just coming here, hey, I've got like almost 700 stories for you to look at so far, including this video. So feel free to have a look. So just diving back in again, since it's been over 100 episodes, let's say it and I've said it multiple times previously, but whatever, let's go. I read a lot of fan fiction over 15 years, and I had a favorites list that was pretty damn big, and I decided, you know what, let's cut that shit. Let's see what's still good, what's bad, and it's been over 2 years, and I'm still only a little over halfway through this, and we'll keep going. So, sorted by publication date, right now we're still in March 2012. We're still in that zone. So let's do this. And let's dive into these. I will have, again, I haven't said it before, but like links to my profile, the playlist for this, and all these stories are in the description down below. So if you find any of these stories interesting, please go down there and have a look at them yourself. All right, so number 1 is When Friendship Dies by StrawberryDashie. And this is a My Little Pony fic that's a bit of a mess. You know, it's not terrible, and it's even pretty coherent, but it speeds through its entire story, which, because it's all about emotions and, you know, struggling with those things, means that nothing really gets a chance to stick with the reader, and everything feels like it's really just happening over like a small infraction. Like, the inciting incident involves Twilight running away from Ponyville back to Canterlot because her friends were busy for a week and didn't spend time with her. And it includes like a super dramatic breakup with Spike because he refuses to come with her, and like the rest of the story follows the same pattern of just, okay, so they didn't say hi for a week, so now you're gonna just sit in your room and kill yourself. Like it feels like it's missing steps for the emotional reaction. Where, like, you know, just dramatic moments and revelation seem to just pop out of nowhere, and so it doesn't feel like any of them are earned emotional weight, you know. And it doesn't help that the story wasn't completed, and so we're just left with the miasma of bad feelings as the main 6 are all going at each other for different things, while Twilight basically turns evil in Canterlot for some reason. So it's just a mix mash of stuff that's not that great, and I don't really think you need to go find this yourself. I mean, give it a look if you want to, as always, but it's not going to stay on my list, and I really don't think you need to go look it up yourself. Number 2 is Fate He Defied, Fate He Revived by Dark.Force.Light. Alright, so this is a Naruto crossover with Negima, and basically Naruto gets banished after the Sasuke retrieval mission, and then somehow something happens where he ends up going through a portal that sends him both back in time and teleported to the magical world, where he turns into Fate Avaruckus from Negima. And then after all the Negima stuff is going on, and Fate's a teacher at the school, before they save the magical world, he gets called back to Konoha to help them out at the start of Shippuden. So the story never goes into how he got into the Negima timeline, and honestly, most of the crossover elements themselves are basically completely superfluous. Like, Fate gets brought back, he comes back at the start of Shippuden, and it's really not clear why. Like, I guess because they don't need him, because it turns out it's not like they needed him for actual power, because it turns out, hey, when he left, somehow the fourth Hokage and his wife and Uchiha Mikoto, Sasuke's mom, and Hinata's mom all came back to life, and it's like they're all super powerful as well. So it's like, why the hell do you even need Naruto? I mean, I get for emotionally why they want their son back, but like it's weird. And there's also Naruto has Danzo clone Naruto, and he has a couple sisters. Like it's weird. Like that, and it's just like hand waved away that they're there now because of QB shit and whatever, and move on. But when Fate comes back, Neji and a few of the girls from his harem, the class, follow, but they don't really do anything. It's basically just an OP Naruto fic where with just extra people who will occasionally say a line. Like, plot-wise, we go from the start of Shippuden to like Sasuke versus Itachi fight with some skipped segments thanks to the powerhouses Konoha has now, before basically redoing the Chunin exam arc, except the Team 7 is now all they're the Jonin instructors of the teams that are being sent in instead. It's really kind of dull because all of the fights are essentially curb stomps, and there's very little humor and stuff, especially for a Negima fic and stuff, because all the Negima characters just feel pointless. Like, Naruto is just going through and walking over everybody by himself. They basically do nothing. Like, why are they even there? And also, apparently the other people back in Mahora can just spend all of their time just watching them and not doing anything else. Like, there's logical inconsistencies, but also like it really is, a lot of stuff is just pointless. Like, there's like one thing where like, oh, they capture Itachi because they're like, oh, we're going to save Itachi because now we know the truth and everything because the fourth Hokage is alive and all that stuff, so they know why, so he's a good guy, so we're going to bring him back to Konoha. But then it's like Orochimaru's like, haha, I put a super complex evil seal that as soon as he gets to Konoha, he'll put a super poison on him that'll die horribly painfully and he won't even be able to speak and do it. And then literally 3 paragraphs later, they're just like, oh yeah, we found the seal and we removed it. It's like, then why did you bring it up? Like, what was the point? You solve it before it ever becomes an issue, and you solve it within like a page. Like, it is there's a lot of stuff like that just feels pointless and doesn't serve not serving any purpose. And I've said before, OP fics can be good. Usually though, they're good when they fall more into the realm of comedy and they focus on that. When you go for a pure serious OP fic, you gotta pull up the stakes or bring some emotional weight to make up the difference for the fact that there's no tension. If there's no tension in the stakes of the fight and drama that way, then fine, make their tension in the emotional stuff, or make it a comedy, like One Punch Man or stuff. Like, there's things you can do with the OP heroes, but straight just curb stomp stuff is not entertaining. And this is just a really dull fic that you don't have to see, and it's not even complete, so but overall it's gonna fall off my list. Alright, number 3 is Fate Revenant Sword by James D. Fawkes. And this is just some good old time travel fic with Fate Stay Night. With at the end of the Fate route, Shirou makes a wish to like spend more time with Saber and basically ends up restarting the war, and decides he's gonna try to have a better go at it this time around. Like, this is basically a very pretty simple fic, though honestly not much actually changes. Sure, some of the battles are a little different and some conversations are new, but most of because of the new knowledge, but because he's still trying to go for like the canon ending, like there aren't a lot of actual big changes. Although the author does add a extra true ending to wrap up the one route that the original Fate route did not have in the original visual novel, where Shirou actually gets to spend time with Saber, stuff like that. if you want to see a happy ending with just a pure Saber and Shirou pairing, definitely give this a look. But in the end, I just found it to be an okay story that didn't have a lot of nuance or depth. And it's a good enough fic, but not something that I want to revisit, and I'm not going to keep it on my favorites list. Alright. Number 4 is The Magic in Ordinary by Runt the Brave. And here we have a Harry Potter fic where Harry, during his 3rd year, Harry basically, I don't know, something clicks in his head, and he just, when he goes to like learn the Patronus charm, he just casts it immediately on the first try, and basically that makes him smart or something. And then he's like, okay, I'm going to broaden my circle of friends by doing a social campaign of talking to everybody in the school and also dealing with people's baggage while also swapping classes and stuff like that. Like, it's the inciting, there's no real inciting incident. Like I said, like, it just seems to, like, he's in the conversation similar to how the books go, and then all of a sudden, boom, he's just changing everything in his life. Not sure why that happens, but whatever. The main focus of this story is Harry's the character interaction between Harry and everyone else as he starts to, like, try to befriend everyone in Hogwarts. And, you know, in doing so, he creates many new circles of friends and starts adopting other kids as family and wards and stuff like that. And the amount of characters quickly becomes very overwhelming. All of the drama here is very, like, interpersonal, with the action and, like, war part with Voldemort all basically being backloaded for the finale. And that's a big problem for me because I just did not get sucked into the character drama, you know, and because that's all that's there, I didn't care for the story, at all. I got what's happening, and I get why some people would care, but it's just not for me. You know, I don't think it's a bad story, and I do think, like, seeing Harry train up his social foo and getting, you know, seeing that, oh, he's not the only one having shit times, and, you know, it goes into other people that are having screwed up homes and stuff like that. I think it's interesting, just not for me. So I would say give it a look, but it's not going to stay on my list. Right. Number 5 is Obsession by The Struggling Warrior. And this is a Danny Phantom crossover with Young Justice, which has the same inciting incident that a lot of the Danny Phantom crossovers that are probably on my list. And honestly, I think off the top of my head, most of the ones that I've read have. In that, basically, the Nasty Burger incident and after the fight with Dark Dan does not go well, and his whole family dies, and so he leaves to go, or like, basically, he leaves to start doing other stuff. I seem to agree, like, it comes here a lot, but yeah, this one I feel like handles Danny's grief well enough, and the addition of the Young Justice cast seems natural enough that you can actually feel that, like, oh, they were the same universe, they just were leaving it alone, because, hey, Amity Park's got their superhero, we don't need more. That said, I did struggle to keep reading this, even though I did enjoy it to a certain extent. I don't know, like, I could see myself picking this up and, like, stop starting it over the course of a long period of time, whereas, like, Danny and Vlad, like, train up and then start dealing with the villains of Young Justice and stuff like that. But I can't see myself binging this, and that's kind of the thing I feel like is one of the things that I really, if I really enjoy a story or like it, like, I should have no problem going through it in one piece. That's why, like, I do think it's interesting. I just don't think it's the best thing or the thing that I would really want to stay on my list. I would definitely say to give it a look if you want to see some more Danny Phantom stuff, and especially him interacting with, like, Robin and the others. And there's a lot here. Not only is this story complete, but there's, like, 3 sequels to it, so you'll definitely have content if you want to be interested in this story. I do think this is a good story, just not in the great realm or the bingeable realm for me to keep it on my favorites list, but I do definitely recommend it if you like Danny Phantom. Alright. moving on to number 6, we have That Crazy Nut of a Teacher by Lollybat. And this is another Harry Potter crossover, this time with Auron Host Club, where after Harry deals with Voldemort and gets tired of the wizard world, he just leaves and goes to the business world and gets his degrees and becomes a business guy, and then basically gets tricked into being a teacher at Auron Academy for a year. So the story inserts Harry into the hijinks of the club rather well and offers enough for him to do that it's not just like the Fate fic, the Naruto crossover that I talked about earlier. It doesn't feel like his inclusion is pointless because he has interactions, and honestly, most of the stuff is coming from his perspective. So we're seeing his growing feelings and like care for the club members and stuff like that, where he's basically been pulling himself not apart, but like closing himself off and kind of just being standoffish outside of that. And also just things that are like how he basically takes a pining to he takes a care for Haruhi and wants to like just spoil her and take care of her under his wing and stuff like that. Like the interactions he has with the club are really fun, and it also is really fun to where like in basically the midway of this story, another character comes in whose interactions with Harry and the following storyline that would have been really interesting. Sadly, because the story's incomplete, the author never developed those later plot points, and we only really get through like I want to say four or five episodes of the anime. They get up to like the theme park episode, and that's it. But I really did enjoy this a lot. It's one of the banes, where it's like I like this, and I wish he had continued it, and it would have been so much more great stuff. But here, because it's again mainly focused on comedy and a little bit of drama and stuff, but the comedy is the main thing, and I really did enjoy this. It's got the same casual, lighthearted flow that the show does, and if you like Auron Academy at all, I would say give it a look. I don't think I think it's really fun, and it's gonna stay on my list. All right, and last for this video, number 7 is Who Needs the QB and Other Random Ideas by High Valor. And if you couldn't tell by that title, this is another, dumping ground for all scenes or ideas that the author had that he never developed into a full story, with basically one exception. And this one's all focused on the world of Naruto. There's a whole bunch of fun ideas here, and also there's a lot of things that are just like single snippets or single scenes that I did enjoy, and they still give enough concept to like you can see where this could have gone, or like see like, okay, this would be a great idea, and they do feel like, okay, it's enjoyable enough on their own, these snaps. The one big thing he has is this one redesign of Team 7 where they basically swap, like Sasuke basically gets swapped with like the power set and attitude of Dante, Sakura gets Venom, and Naruto gets Ed from Full Metal Alchemist, and that like is dubbed Team Nightmare, and that he's done like 10 or 15 segments in this collection, which I really feel or should have earned it enough to get its own, should have just put it into its own story. But those segments I feel are freaking amazing, even though it's like, because of how it is, it cuts out all the fluff, and we just get to like the cool scene. Like, because of how it's just structured, we get cool scene. And even if he had left it like that and just put it into its own thing, I think it would have been great. But that I think alone is worth looking at this, because it's super fun and entertaining. There's a couple other scene like ideas that get multiple scenes, but that's the one that's by far the biggest, and the other ones are also pretty good. I did enjoy this a lot, and like most of these, if I like them, it's going to stay on my list, and this one does too. And there we go. Another 7 stories done. Not quite at 700, even though this is a video 101, but we're at 600, and so fanfiction status time. We're at 696 stories read, and 338 stories staying on my list. So there we go, and now this cleaned up, so now I look at my favorites list and I see like the ones that are still on my list. There's like 580 stories to go. There have been some that have been deleted or removed from the site. One of which will be like coming soon that I'll try and find, but like, you know, not all these were backed up or in other places, so some of these might just be gone. I'll just be stuck with what's left on the website. But yeah, thank you for watching. If you like this, please leave a like or a comment, or check out any of the stories if they interested you, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.